There's a slightly grimy story today about food and the Home Office, about the story that combines illegal migration or legal migration, the gig economy exploitation and government enforcement, all unfolding on the streets of Birmingham and a few other UK cities. But behind every hot meal now, delivered to a doorstep, will lie a tangled web of account sharing, asylum policy, corporate responsibility and political theatre. It's a story about control, vulnerability and a system straining under the weight of its own contradictions. The Home Office has announced a significant agreement with Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats to crack down on illegal migrant labour in the food delivery sector. This follows persistent reports, many amplified by GB News and the Daily Express, that asylum seekers and undocumented migrants are working illegally using accounts sublet to them by registered riders. How does it work? Well, an approved rider with a legal right to work leases their account, often for a fee, to someone who doesn't have that right. The gig economy's structure makes this remarkably easy. No contracts, no physical office, just an app login, a bike and a smartphone. Some estimates suggest that thousands of such cases are operating across the country, and Birmingham, with its density of delivery riders, high number of asylum hotels and vast migrant population, has become a microcosm of this national dilemma. The new rules include real-time identity checks, increased facial recognition technology, fraud detection tools, data sharing with the Home Office, including the locations of asylum hotels. Delivery platforms will now be able to flag patterns of misuse and suspend accounts more swiftly. Already, thousands of profiles have been deactivated. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has framed this as a threefold issue. It undermines honest business, it exploits vulnerable individuals, it fuels organised immigration crime. There's also a broader objective to deter those considering the perilous channel crossing by removing the perceived promise of work. But I think we should pause. Beneath the rhetoric and the policy, there is desperation. Many of these migrants are not criminal masterminds. They're young men from Eritrea, Afghanistan, Sudan and Syria. Some fled war, others destitution. They arrive with nothing and are housed in hotels with no right to work, yet often no support, no purpose, no clear path forward. And the idea that someone in that position offered a chance to make £1,000 a week riding an e-bike would turn it down because of a bureaucratic line on a visa document is idealistic at best, willfully naive at worst. And bluntly, let's be honest, this arrangement has persisted not just because of migrants' actions, but because delivery companies profited from the ambiguity. The gig economy firms have built models on plausible deniability, outsourced responsibility, contract flexibility, minimal oversight, and for years they benefit from this porous system. The issue, unsurprisingly, has become politically weaponized. Nigel Farage has called for mass deportations. I'm not shallow. GB News celebrated its role in exposing this scandal, while the Daily Express has published lurid tales of Albanian criminals in £80,000 cars delivered by people on fake visas. The public mood is febrile, stoked by headlines that conflate all migrants with illegality, all asylum seekers with deception, all delivery riders with disorder. Meanwhile, Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer face the impossible task of maintaining border credibility without alienating centre-left moderates or Labour's multicultural base. And it's worth pointing out that the number of migrants crossing the Channel has gone up since Macron and Starmer's arrangement. Illegal working isn't a serious issue. It creates unfair competition, erodes labour standards and allows criminal gangs to profit. But the solution must address more than just enforcement. We need a functioning, efficient asylum seeker system that doesn't trap people in limbo for over a year. We need a gig economy reform that mandates real employee protections and obligations. We need an honest conversation about labour shortages, especially in sectors the public quietly relies on. And we need a tone of discourse that separates criminal exploitation from the simple fact that migrants are human beings. We need some sort of pink card system allowing migrants who come here to work. Crackdown may produce statistics, but justice, stability and dignity are built with policy, not spectacle generated by GB News.